Well, into picks and bans we go. Will Lemony Snicket show up again? We'll find out as LG are going to be first pick this time round. So whatever the difference in the picks and bans then, LG get a strong pick for their first one. Where do you want to see him focusing on here? Jungle position maybe for Weekend?
Well, surprisingly enough, it doesn't seem as though a Pele jungle is anything that they have in mind. I feel like Weekend will probably want to stick to the Erlang. I don't think that there was really much of an issue with the draft from Luminosity personally. I think that they did a pretty decent job with their composition overall. It just got away from them because of how far ahead eUnited's lead was at the very start.
We mentioned, though, in the picks and bans of last game, though, that the fact that their laning phase was going to be lackluster. They were going to get behind in the early stages for the most part. And because the only lane that didn't have an easy time of things, the Scylla, ends up getting kills early, it made the game snowball out of control. Freya, though, is going to get through and picked up by LG. More than likely for the mid lane.
I wasn't initially on board with the Cuckoo Khan pickup, but after we talked about it in having the tornado responses for Circuit commitments, even Benji with the Bellona, we figured that maybe you could get a little bit better damage off. Even the Spirit of the Nine Winds could be a strong way to just knock everybody up out of position, maybe give Luminosity a chance to respond, but we never really saw an opportunity for that. I think Luminosity are probably just going to buckle down here and look for all early game pressure.
Morrigan and Freya. Well, Freya's mainly been seen in the mid lane just lately, but the Morrigan has been seen in the solo lane for Kiki. Now, I mentioned that in game one, but this one could actually be the case now with Anhur being locked in too. It definitely tells me that Freya and Anhur are going to take up that mid and hunter positions at least, and Morrigan will more than likely drift to the solo lane unless she jungles, which we don't see too often either.
I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Kiki on Morrigan solo here. I think that considering how the last match went, the only real downside to it is if this is a Bellona for Benji, then there could be heavy pressure coming out of solo, so I could see that as a reason why Luminosity might not want to put that Morrigan over into solo. I do like that they haven't selected their front line just yet, because I think that there's enough open on the table right now that Luminosity could perhaps look for the Geb again onto Geno, except this time around, hopefully he'll have a little bit better, or they'll have a little bit of a better early game start so that Geno isn't forced to itemize more selfishly. We saw that Breastplate of Valor rush, for example, and it just felt like he was just looking for cheap early prots. Yeah,
cheap early prots that didn't really work out in the end because you need health too. Do like the Bellona pick that United did though on the second pick there, because disarm definitely going to be impactful here. Okay, so we've got Anhur, Cupid, and Freya and Morrigan on the same team. I'm not sold on this comp at all. Like, at all.
This went south very fast. I mean, when you see Freya and Morrigan on here, it's fine. I don't think there's really much of a problem with that, but...
Well, Cupid too.
Like, well, Sobek to round things off isn't really what we were...
No, to be fair, the Sobek pick is the one thing on the list where I'm like, well, at least they've got something to frontline of some kind, because who the heck on that team is going to frontline for LG outside of Sobek? They have nobody. They're going to go for damage more than anything else. Morrigan's going to have to transform into a tank every time.
This is either going to be a... What if it's Jungle Freya? I feel like this might be Jungle Freya for Weekend.
With a Morrigan, an Anhur, and a Cupid?
Hey, well, the Cupid is... I'm not going to lie. It's straight out of... I don't know. It just... Luminosity wanted something. I'm trying to come up with analytical points here.
I know you are. They've not even mentioned the Kuang yet, the last pick for eUnited, which we don't see too much of, but you guys at home get to have a vote here. Do you want to go with the roster that has 4 backliners and just a Sobek, or do you want to go with the world champions who are undefeated in the split? I don't know. You guys choose. I'm going to get it over to FDU and Toli.
Extremely Snoopy voice. What the is happening? What is going on?
Hello?
Baskin in the middle lane with a Bellona. Oh my goodness. Honestly, I guess that's the only weird thing I say as he proxies by the Phoenix.
He's not going to get stopped either. They need to go do the speed buff. They can't waste any time with farming that jungle. Baskin's going to invade back camps off of this, or the red.
Yeah, I definitely want to see him at least get the back camps. Weekend with the Freya jungle. I've been asking for Freya jungle a little bit more. I don't really mind it too much. And Geno with the Morrigan. I've played with Geno on the Morrigan support before. We played a ranked game together the other day. He was playing Morrigan support. Homie carried. Homie carried. So I have no hate on the Morrigan support. I like it.
No, Baskin, don't do it to him. He's looking for the rotation on the gank side. He's level 2 Bellona. He's actually going to kill them both.
He's looking for it. You really think he's going to do it?
Yes, he's going to do it. He's forcing the sprint. Horrific emblem after the fact. His teammates not helping him out. Remember that game, Tom? Season 3.
Okay.
Against, what team was it?
You just said Season 3.
Baskin Bellona 1v4 and killing everybody literally.
Well, right now he might be dead here. He's very low, and the Morrigan not going to be able to find the kill. It's an all-out bloodbath here. No deaths just yet. PolarBearMike still chasing.
Oh, Gino didn't have the damage to find the last
How much
hit.
HP? Oh, he had 5 HP
Wow.
right there.
Baskin walking away like a bandit. It was the Soar versus Envy sets.
Oh my gosh! Why do I remember this so vividly?
Because they surrendered at like 1 minute and 40 seconds, where it was Dust substituted.
Oh, that I thought you were. Oh, yeah. That's all you had to say was the famous Dust game.
I was trying to remember what team it was first.
Yeah, no, Baskin did the dirty work in the early parts of that game, and here he's doing the dirty stuff in the early parts of this game. ShadowChair and Weekend going to look for Scream. They might be able to kill him here, actually.
Not under the tier 1 tower. Without the obelisk impale for Scream, and even that, oh yeah, he doesn't have beats, so that might have been a kill if he found the stun off of the wall.
That's what I was looking for. Not going to be the case just yet. So an oddball start here from eUnited puts them up basically nothing, but certainly creates a whole lot of chaos in the beginning of the game.
Puts them up a little bit. ShadowChair is slightly behind Baskin for being able to pick up those back camps off of that mid-wave. Experience, not so much.
Meanwhile, ShadowChair and Clout both have the red buff. That's a win for LG in my opinion.
Okay. Now that I'm evaluating it a little bit further, that back really had to hurt Baskin.
Exactly. It was, it was cute. It was cheeky. I almost get it. eUnited right now. When I was a kid, my mom used to tell me don't play with my food. I don't think eUnited got that same lesson. Because that's exactly what's happening here. Bellona middle lane. Is this the absolute best approach to Smite game, you think, Tolly?
Competitively, it's difficult. Considering that he can easily get ganked from Weekend as well. Like, if you're going to be aggressive against ShadowChair, because Bellona does outweigh Hunters, or win against Hunters in the 1v1, but you're just asking to get ganked when you're going to play that aggressive under the tower line.
No, you know what? I actually am going to backtrack here a little bit, folks. I'm going to backtrack a little bit here. I actually really like this selection, and I'll tell you why. So, the Bellona, it's going to be able to lane kind of efficiently. Sprint pops on the dual lane side as they pause my conversation. Gino able to get out for the moment, but the first blood goes to the Goomba Stomp as PandaCat gets his boots ready and gets kill number 1 for his team.
A lot of it also has to come to how Terra is going to impact these team fights. The Bellona's Eagles rally with the Earthen Fury from Terra is going to allow a lot of these team fights to start exponentially increasing the damage out of eUnited. Now, whether that Bellona is in mid lane or otherwise, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things in team fights. It's a little awkward, sure, and a little curveball in the laning phase, but as long as he doesn't die in the laning phase from these ganks out of Weekend, he should be fine in team fights.
Yeah, well, Baskin right now in some trouble, but the Terra's going to show up and help out. As I said, let me backtrack and tell you why I really like this pick. So, you want to go with the control mage, Benji, over there in the solo lane, and mid lane Baron Samedi not really going to bring what you wanted to, right? So you're going to play that solo, and you want to play jungle magic as well, which means you need a physical player in the middle lane. So you want to go warrior, but you want to go offensive warrior. So you look, you look for the offensive warriors just like Mouse did previously. You want to look for Chalk, you want to look for Bellona, you want to look for Sun Wukong, you want to look for Hercules. Now, out of those 4 that I mentioned, and there might be an extra 1 or 2, but out of those 4 that I mentioned, what's best to play against the enemy composition? Well, Weekend, ShadowChair, and Clout are all basic attack-oriented characters. And so, go the one that deals well against Hunters, and that's Bellona. Look at that disarm right away. So, again, just like I said with the Mouse composition, is this the best comp? Well, Scream's trying to say yes. But whether or not the answer is yes or no, there is a reason for it all, and I understand.
Geno trying to do his best Baskin Bellona impersonation, but he could be in a lot of trouble. Stun onto Baskin, weak in the backhand side. Gonna get scourged away, and this is why we're seeing more Bellona. The disarm hurting Freya's DPS at the end of the day. Baskin still making it happen.
Yeah, again, I need to reiterate. I'm not agreeing, I'm not disagreeing, but there is method behind the madness. And Baskin's certainly a mad lad for his move here in the middle lane. PolarBearMike gonna root out Weaken and dash his way away. But I think the biggest thing here, Toli, that I really like, Baskin, Weaken, just trying to battle it out. ShadowChair almost taking out Scream!
Oh.
And he just can't find the damage, or the distance, rather. eUnited used to be very rigid, and then Scream would play something weird. But everything else was rather rigid. And then here, I think Baskin has sort of opened the creativity door for the team. Baskin and Scream are down to play the weird stuff, and it's not about playing the weird stuff, but it's about approaching the game in a light that you can, when it comes time to land, you can answer whatever the enemy's going to give you. And I like to see teams explore the options. And again, weird doesn't mean good, but I want to see you have a bigger view than just the closed-minded meta view that a lot of these pro teams can kind of get locked into.
It's so easy to fall into the meta every week after week, all the scrims and stuff. But the flexibility of Baskin's God Pool, not only is like trying to shut down LG, but it's trying to synergize with the rest of eUnited. That last little team skirmish in the Tier 1 mid tower allowed Scream to be able to make that tower dive, to find the execute on top of ShadowChair right after his beads expired. And normally when you look for mid gods, doesn't matter which god it is, physical, magical, warrior, mage, whatever, the scaling has to be present. Bellona's Bludgeon does a decent amount of scaling, as does the Eagles Rally. So you can kind of go a little hybrid mix. You don't have to go full physical defense / magical defense. You have to look for a little bit of power, which is why we're seeing the Berserker Shield.
And that's why I mentioned the 4 offensive warriors. That's why that's kind of the stable.
And then going forward, all this damage that Baskin's providing is going to allow Scream to play cleanup crew. Whereas normally at times, you think that the jungler could be the setup man for your mid-mage, but in this case, it's going to be the opposite.
Exactly. Scream using the beads here, and I think that's the biggest key, Toli. I love the way you phrase that, because it's, at the end of the day, when we saw more in the mouse composition than on this one, is the idea that 5 characters is what you have team fight time. 15 minutes in, nobody remembers where you laned. And it's just about the team fight. And if you see these 5 characters for eUnited, that's a pretty damn good team fight.
This is Baskin reliving his glory days in Cloud 9, basically, and in Denial in Season 1.
That's true. For those newer to the Pro League, he started as a solo lane.
A lot of trouble. PB at Valkyrie's discretion. Weaken on the board. No chase down from Baskin. Very important kill for Weaken. Piloting the Freya, needs to finish off that hasten ring. Not
just him personally, but the team as well. LG down 2,000 gold in total before the 10-minute mark. Not a great look here so far for Luminosity. eUnited, on the other hand, they're jank.
Ooh, look at Scream. He wants to kill Weaken so badly, but he was a little bit too late to the party, not able to steal away that speed buff. Baskin can actually force out the sprint from Geno.
Uh-oh. Scream getting chased on by Kiki.
No beads available. He might be dead.
Lurking in the water is going to take down half of his HP. Here comes Benji to collapse on a Weaken. Clout and Baskin having their own fight by the enemy red buff. And Benji off screen going to take care of Weaken. Rally over here, and Geno gets hit with the bludgeon. Baskin on top of the support.
Oh, Baskin's not done yet because he's continuing the 1v1 up against Clout. It's a healing battle. Benji still making his impact. ShadowChair's in a lot of trouble. Life of the party. He's going to keep him in place.
Scream gets the last hit. Baskin actually does fall down. And Clout's going to let us know as he giggles his way in the bee costume.
I would say 4 for 2 at the end of the day after PBM revived. I like the idea behind chasing down Scream. He didn't have beads. He just used water illusion. The rotation from Kiki, the sickening strike revealed where Scream was. There was a lot of damage lurking in the water. But then the rotation from Benji happened, having a lot of cooldown reduction already between the Genji's guard, between the Shoes of Focus, allowed him to keep Weekend in place. No Valkyrie's Discretion for Weekend as he used that for the kill onto PBM, and that's where the turnaround happened, the solo laner from eUnited.
Just great job from Benji. And again, no surprise, Benji has just consistently been one of the strongest players around. And you know, it's funny, he's kind of quiet, right? Not too much social media, no content really coming out from him. He just shows up, puts his head down and play. And I love that. I love how you just always can expect him to come out and have a solid game. PolarBearMike goes down kind of easily. Now a team fight after? No, Baskin just going to mess around with these guys. Still willing to walk into 3. It's kind of pretty wild. But, you know, the question I have to ask you, Toli, is when was the last time Benji had a bad game?
It's been a while.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm looking at you trying to remember.
I can't remember, actually.
And for the folks at home, Toli's the guy as ShadowChair loses the fight against Scream.
Like Season 3 when he goes Fatalis on Hercules.
I remember that, actually. I'm very mad. Toli's the guy that remembers every game. And so for you not to remember Benji having a bad game, that's kind of what I'm getting at, is he's just so consistently strong that it's not a surprise to kind of see him.
Oh, great dive from Scream, capitalizing onto Geno.
And that is word for word what you brought up 4 minutes ago. A lot of times we expect the junglers set up for the mid lane mage. That's Baskin finding the slow and the extra damage to set up Scream for the kill.
So much mobility on the Hasten Ring from Scream, where I thought it was going to be Hasten Ring for Weekend instead. He opts for the Demonic Grip instead. Kiki trying to stop the Gold Fury. Has been reset, but he's so low!
He's so low that he's dead. 0 is the number in his HP pool. Benji again. 3-0-1. My, what a game eUnited's having. Terra zones out Clout. Luminosity can't get there. 6,000 gold in 12 and a half, almost 13 minutes.
Cupid is not one of these gods that can be reliable without mana. A lot of hunters can still be a little useful here and there, but the Cupid, not so much.
Not early. Late game, I actually love Cupid because of the fact that he gets the passive attack speed, and he's faster than most hunters.
It's very minimal, though. I think it's like 10% at max rank just off of the passive. But either way, it's still a passive. You don't have to activate. Like, you don't have to use that dash. Oh, sorry, it's 20%.
That's
okay,
impactful.
that's definitely a little better.
But I understand where you're coming from because that's all the way late game. You're leveling. Clout here is leveling his heart bomb and then his hearts and then his dash. So right now it's only 4%. So it's until you're level 20, it is relatively ignorable.
Yeah, not too much to write home about, but still going to have it up forever, so that's not too shabby to be able to burst down some of these targets. PBM specifically, that's going to be trying to get in the faces of LG. Would love to see maybe even the chin size out of Clout to try to blow up PBM.
Could be the look to go to. Clout ignoring any of the sustain options because he does have the hearts in his kit, and he's prioritizing them above the attack speed. Sometimes we see the attack speed be prioritized and then the Cupids will go lifesteal because the hearts are relatively low impact. Clout going the other route and trying to play heal.
Whoop onto Scream. They're trying to retreat. Sprint even being used from Geno, and United is very content with that. Not going to want to go past that imaginary tier 1 line. Geno getting baited and kited.
Yeah, there's the ultimate coming out from Clout. PolarBearMike getting a little too close. Clout just has to find an exit out. Right side, now ShadowChair in trouble. He's going to be hit up by the ultimate from Scream. Beads are good, but the follow-up's better. Clout's under the tower, and here comes Benji, and down goes the Hunter again.
Kiki blinks in, but that's not the target you want to pull in. Not Benji, lurking in the water defensively. Tower dive commencing. eUnited getting 4, looking for the Tia side. They're gonna go under the Phoenix. They want Weekend so badly.
There's 1 HP. Benji couldn't find it. Weekend had about 12 HP right there. Benji 5-0-3, number 2 on the damage charts. The mid lane Bellona is number 1 on the damage charts, by the way. Just putting that one out there, and 15 and a half in. There's 16 kills in total, and eUnited's got a baker's dozen of them. And a nice little cute 9,600 gold lead, by the way.
Barely past the 15-minute mark.
Yeah.
eUnited just leaps and bounds above LG in this set, I would say. Doesn't even matter that Baskin is playing the Bellona.
Well, like I said, I mean, this isn't... I don't think this is the composition that A, you take into every game, and B, there might be a better composition than what they're playing right now. But I understand why. The balance of the magical and physical makes sense. The Bellona prioritization above other warriors makes sense because of the in-hand effective nature of Luminosity Gaming's composition. I think to the layman that this just looks silly and that eUnited are trolling.
They're not trolling. Definitely
exactly.
not.
There is a very big reason to why we see this composition.
The reason they are successful this game is because Screammmmm went unchecked.
Yeah.
Sitting at 5-0-4, this Kuang is really scary to deal with now. Sitting at level 17, Benji's even been able to make an impact, not too far behind the scoreline out of his jungler.
Yeah, Benji's been out of control. Benji has actually been my MVP so far. Screammmmm has been gobbling players up, but it's been Benji doing the damage, healing, controlling, keeping players under the tower. What an impressive play from this guy.
That counter rotation, I'm thinking back, was what allowed Screammmmm to survive because Benji was there after Kiki. Now it's going to be the opposite, where Screammmmm is here trying to kill Kiki under his tier 1 tower. There goes the slow, forced to lurking in the water. Beautiful wall to keep Kiki into place for the moment. Where do you go? Up in the sky.
And down to the ground. Screammmmm sending Kiki to the Shadow Realm so far. Fire Giant going to be up next. This one relatively unchecked. Duo lane from Luminosity going to stay right there and look for a tier 1 tower. Should they defend the Fire Giant? I think no. I don't think that they had a chance to even think about it.
Definitely not. LG agrees with you there. There was 2 members on the left side, Geno and Clout, trying to get a tier 1 tower. Screammmmm is unrelenting on his chase.
Oh my. That was just dirty, ladies and gentlemen. Woof. Gold tier being pulled by LG. Again, I like that call. But when it comes time to Phoenix play, I do want to see a defense. Terra ultimate pops as PolarBearMike decides to get even more aggressive and kill number 8. Jungler Screammmmm out of control. Weekend jumped on top. Clout comes forward. He's like, kiss me, bro. And Baskin's looking to do just that right on top. He's rushing, and PandaCat gets the kill onto Geno.
Baskin was just standing still. Hit me, please. My Thorns is active. Life of the party. Benji is going to pull Clout a little bit closer. The Root is going to force out the dash. Titan is actually being started, but the Sun's going into the fountain. ShadowChair just out healing all the damage. This is a eUnited troll.
Yeah, Screammmmm did the red buff and then back to base, and the rest of his team
Just
over
leave.
here.
Just leave the fountain. It's okay, eUnited. They probably have a lot of gold in hand. Over 2,000 for Baskin. By the way, he has a Frostbound Hammer, mind you. Going utility Bellona, old Season 1, Season 2 days.
eUnited. Listen, we're only 19 minutes in, so I'm not going to get mad about it.
Well, they didn't die. Like, no one died.
If eUnited group up as 5, they win the game there, totally.
I mean, it's hard to say because that Titan is very resilient now. 2 towers on the left side, 2 more Phoenix remain. I don't think they can end it. It would have been close. It would have been very, very close. No fire minions, no wave at all to absorb. I'm telling you, they would not be able to end that game. Sorry, Thomas. That's my hot take.
My take is lukewarm. They could have definitely... Do you see the damage that Screammmmm has?
It's a lot. But he can't execute the Titan.
I don't know. Right now, eUnited are looking like Method. And Luminosity Gaming's Titan is just another boss in the boss race. 60,000 gold compared to 44K. 19 kills compared to 3.
Weekend is going to get sandwiched.
PolarBearMike finds the Root, finds the stun. Here comes PandaCat and PolarBearMike trying to get the kill. Geno going to fall down to the hand of Benji. 7 kills in total for the solo control mage. Here comes Benji looking for number 8. Kiki's here, but PandaCat gonna take it. Blackjack 21 for eUnited.
Not done with their Titan Siege. Only 3 members to play defense for LG. eUnited gonna work a little bit harder for this victory as Baskin is going for the tier 2 tower on the left side while the rest of his team pops the frenzy, will now successfully end.
Half HP on the Titan so far, and that's it. There goes the battle. eUnited making it look like a Pokemon match as Luminosity stuck up in there, and 2 games to none, eUnited take it.
A lot cleaner this game with a little bit of a more orthodox pick, I would say, on the Bellona mid lane. Certainly making it happen. You made the claim that Benji was the MVP. I could say it was Scream. They both played lights out, honestly.
Yeah, I think the right side of the map, again, comes through in the clutch. Baskin's oddball pick, certainly fun to look at as well. But at the end of the day, like you said, either you're looking at the flash and the big kills, or you're looking at the control. Although Benji got some good kills.
Yep. It was a lot of good control also from Baskin, being able to play setup for Scream, which is usually the opposite case.
Yeah.
Even going Frostbound Hammer towards the end, just reminding us old Bellona Season 2 days.
Either way, I love to see the jank. Fun stuff at all. End of week 4. Let's break it down with Hindu and Taco.
Well, the first thing I'm going to break down is the MVP for that set from my point of view was LG's draft, and it kind of showed in that set too. Taco, there's not a whole lot to talk about there, in all honesty. The picks and bans were awkward. It showed in the gameplay too. The builds are crazy. I'm kind of tilted by that. It's not often I get tilted, but Geno building Stoner banning on a Morrigan Dan's game? What? I don't know what that's about. On top of that, continuing to draft more hunters into a Bellona is not going to work out very well.
I'm just as speechless now as I was before the match even started, Hindu, because we were trying to come up with analytical senses for while that entire game was being played. And at the start, there were some mildly promising moments for Luminosity. They had a couple of return kills, but this just escalated way too quickly for Luminosity to really stay in contention for the game. And eUnited just demolished Luminosity, and I do have to say a large part of that is mostly due to the fact that Luminosity just counter-drafted themselves.
Yeah, they don't look happy with themselves. I'm a bit disappointed now, LG, honestly, because I thought they would have done a little bit better, especially with how the first 2 weeks of the split began. It's back to the drawing board for them again in week 5 then to try and work something out. Obviously, the grand scheme of things, it's top versus bottom there, right? So the bottom team is expected to lose, but at the same time, that last fight wasn't the greatest. MVP for the game, though, was Baskin in the mid lane. The casters were arguing about maybe it's Benji as well. Obviously made an impact, but Baskin came up good enough again.
And Baskin just did everything that he needed to. The scourge timings were great, made sure to keep Clout and ShadowChair from having the auto attacks that they wanted for a lot of their follow-up. Not to mention the fact that the Bellona Eagles rally was really important during a lot of those diving moments, because the towers could have assisted Luminosity a little bit better had it not been for all the prots they were receiving while diving the entire time.
Week 4 comes to a close then, but let's have a look at how the games played out this week. As you can see, this is all the games at the top part. And if you have the left-hand side, it appears you're pretty damn good. That's what you need to know here today. Pretty much everybody all day, if you're on the left-hand side of that, you won.
That's what it's feeling like, and I gotta say, it's looking pretty interesting now in North America, though, because Space Station with that set win over Trifecta are bringing themselves back into the conversation with Splice.
Yeah, they are, and that's why it'll be interesting when we look at the standings now. eUnited will still be top of the charts in North America. LG, after that performance, will continue to be at the bottom of the SPL. Where over in Europe, Dig did take a loss now as well, which is interesting enough. SK is still the only team to not find a win in the split so far.
Energy just waiting for their moment to pounce right now onto Team Dignitas's #1 position, but not too sure that they're going to find it all that easily, because next week things are bound to get even more spicy as we start to come to a close of this fall split.
Completely true. Let's have a look at next week's schedule for you all so you can see exactly what's going to get played in the Pro League. Tuesday we begin with Europe. Rival versus Dignitas and Energy versus Obey. Thank you very much, Tuesday.
Tuesday should be a fun one.
It'll be a great one.
And then there's Mouse and SK Gaming, who are also going to be facing off. Can't forget about those guys. Hey, you got to remember the little people, too.
No, of course. And then on top of that, Wednesday we move on to the eUnited take on Trifecta. Trifecta on the up and up a little bit, even though they did suffer 2 Space Station Gaming early on today. The one match of Wednesday I want to see, though, is Splice versus CLG. Two teams fighting for that third spot, I feel. Not
to mention that the CLG has kind of had a rough split the whole way through, because Splice, for what it's worth, are starting to have a little bit more of that summer vibe right around that midway period where they were really starting to heat up and looking like a top 2 team possibly in North America. And CLG, for as much star power as they have on that roster, not as successful as what some people were kind of envisioning they would be.
Well, with that then, the last thing to really mention is that all these players are taking part to try and get themselves to hi-rez Expo. We keep trying to sell you tickets because we don't want you to miss out on all the events that are going to happen there. November 16th through the 18th is when the event's going to be. You're going to see the best 8 teams from the Smite take part in the World Championships, along with Paladins and some console action too, which is always fun to watch.
And keep in mind, it won't just be hi-rez game titles that are available. DreamHack Atlanta is DreamHack Atlanta. There's going to be a slew of other games that are definitely going to be a fun time to check out. If you're in the area, you may as well. You never know, but don't miss out on any of the Smite action. And in case you do, we can catch you right back up again with the after party.
Oh, look at you selling the after party tickets as well. You getting commission?
I got the party on my mind.
You getting commission?
I would like some more boosters.
No, you don't get any of those. You've got enough as it is. $50 to get yourself to the hi-rez after party, which will happen after DreamHack at main event. If you've not been before, it's a lot of fun. We drink, we hang out, and then we go home.
Usually.
I mean, yeah, that's the plan. You're supposed to go.
You got some late night people out there during the after party event. It is an after party, after all.
After party. But that's it for everyone here at hi-rez Studios. Thank you so much for tuning in as always. Hope you enjoyed the patch notes, and maybe you'll see the PTS this weekend. But for now, we'll see you and bid you adieu. We'll see you next week. See you tomorrow, I was going to say. See you on Monday for week 5. Console is continuing as always on Monday, and then the SPL's back on Tuesday. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and be nice to each other. See you later.